Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. When I was a teenager, I started playing squash at a local community center near my house with my father and a few other friends. And at the age of 17, when I entered university, I became really serious about squash. Like I fell in love with the game. And I remember that first week on campus, the squash team had tryouts. And I show up, I didn't have super high expectations because I had only been playing for I'd say 3 years maybe at that time. And I had never trained. I didn't have a coach. I would just go play for fun. My focus was basketball, working out, and then squash was like a third thing that I did. And I get to the tryouts. The team officially played 10 people in the College Squash Association, the US CSA Association, and they played 6 people in the Canadian college squash program, essentially. Somehow, there were 24 guys or 25 guys that were there that day, and they had all been there prior, and they were all part of the team. And I remember playing a match with the last guy on the roster, and I lost to him in 5. Now, I was bitten. The squash bug hit me that year. And if you've seen any of my other videos, you've probably heard at some point that I made a deal with my parents. I got an academic scholarship, so I didn't have to work a job in the summertime when I was in school. And I'd spend 4 months every year just grinding 5-6 hours a day, 5-6 days a week, and doing that for 4 months. Now, my typical schedule looked like so. I would have 2 sessions. I broke it into 2 sessions, not 3, and each session was about 3 hours long. So I'd get there in the morning. I'd solo for about an hour and a half ish on average, sometimes up to 2 hours. But there wasn't really that much structure with the solo. There was structure that I was hitting drives and volleys or whatever, but the thought process wasn't there. I wasn't thinking about the details. I wasn't thinking about how my length was sitting, where I was hitting it from, what kind of work I was doing with my racket face, and I wasn't working on different mental skills and so on and so forth. There were a lot of things missing at the time. But I would start off with solo. I would usually do another like hour or hour and a half bike ride after that. Then I'd go home, eat, rest for a little bit, and then I'd go back in the afternoon, and then I would do weights for about an hour, hour and a half, and then in the evening, I would play games with people for another hour and a half or so. Now, there wasn't that much thought process with that, and it was too much trading without the right focus. I could have probably trained far less, maybe half the time or 3 to 4 hours spread across 2 sessions, but in a far more meaningful way and have gotten better way faster. And to be honest, that sort of somewhat mindless training continued for years. Now, I was thinking about the game, but I wasn't putting the same degree of thoughtfulness that I put in now with my own game and with my students 10 or 15 years ago. And truthfully, my game was very unidimensional. My thought process was basically, you're fit, you can last for a while, you hit decent length, go out and hit some hard length, make it physically tough, outgrind the guy, and occasionally hit some boasts or some drops and kills. Now, whenever the pressure mounted, the drop shots would go in the tin. Whenever the pressure mounted, the kills would not go where I wanted. And the boasts would, for whatever reason, come out at the wrong time, at the wrong time of a rally, and especially at the wrong time of a match. And they would either be very high, and then I would be under pressure for the rest of the point, or they would be in the tin. These were all mental challenges that I didn't know how to resolve at the time. Now, after years of actively studying the game, working with world-class squash players to junior athletes and anyone and everyone in between, including 70-year-olds, I have learned far more details about the game, and I know how to translate that knowledge in an effective manner to my students in a fun way. In this video, we're going to see some of the nuances from Curtis Malik, who played a fantastic sequence of matches and just put a fantastic performance in the World Team Championships. In this clip, I'm going to show you how Curtis Malik uses one of many forms of disruption. By putting Mazen in a position to hit a cross court, Curtis then steps up on the tee and moves diagonally forward to cut up Hisham's anticipated cross court. This is a 3-part play. Part 1, play a pressure building shot into the front right corner, in this example, an unexpected quality 2-wall boast from a defensive position. Part 2, Given Hesham's position and angle, anticipate the cross court, step forward in the court and take a high tee position to cut off the hitting angle, and then step diagonally forward when volleying to take time away and really cut off that angle further. Part 3, adjust your technique by shifting the grip slightly to accommodate the early contact point. Now, please leverage this framework and develop the skills I just described if you think they're appropriate for your stage of development. If you're the type of person who likes to do things right and you value proper guidance and you don't want to waste time throwing things at a wall to see what sticks, then please send me an email at ahad@arperformance.com and let's consider working together. Until then, please keep learning, keep iterating, and enjoy the process. Take care.